The vast chamber of the Galactic Hegemony High Council fell silent as the human ambassadors strode forward. Ambassador Alina Chin's footsteps echoed off the polished obsidian floors, her determined gait belying the gravity of her mission. Thousands of alien eyes followed her progress, a sea of tentacles, appendages, and sensory organs all focused on this lone representative of humanity. Alina stopped before the towering dais, where the hegemony's ruling triumvirate perched. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. This moment would define the future of her species and, quite possibly, the fate of the galaxy itself. Esteemed members of the Galactic Hegemony, Alina's voice rang out, amplified by the chamber's acoustics. I come before you today, not as a supplicant, but as a harbinger. Murmurs rippled through the assembled dignitaries. The Arxer, a towering insectoid, clicked its mandibles in displeasure, while the Zori representative's bioluminescent patches flashed a warning pattern. Alina continued, her voice steady and firm. For too long, humanity has watched as your hegemony expanded unchecked across the stars. We've witnessed the subjugation of countless species, the strip mining of entire worlds, and the eradication of cultures that span millennia. The central figure of the triumvirate, High Arbiter Skathar, leaned forward, its gelatinous form rippling with barely contained anger. You dare lecture us on our methods, human? Your species is but an infant in the cosmic order. You should be grateful we've allowed you to retain your autonomy thus far. A cold smile played across Alina's lips. And that, High Arbiter, is precisely why I'm here today. Humanity will no longer stand idly by as you reshape the galaxy in your image. We've come to deliver an ultimatum. The chamber erupted into a cacophony of outrage. Delegates shouted, roared, and emitted pheromones of anger and disbelief. High Arbiter Skathar raised a tentacle, and silence fell once more. An ultimatum? Skathar's voice dripped with condescension. And what, pray tell, could your pitiful species possibly threaten us with? Alina's eyes blazed with intensity. Cease your expansion. Withdraw from the territories you've unjustly claimed. Grant independence to the species you've enslaved. If you do not comply within one standard galactic cycle, the consequences will be severe. Laughter echoed through the chamber, a discordant symphony of alien mirth. Even the typically stoic Meridians were visibly amused, their crystalline bodies vibrating with mocking frequencies. High Arbiter Skathar's form rippled with what passed for laughter in its species. And if we refuse this generous offer, will you wage war against us with your handful of colonies and primitive starships? Alina's expression remained impassive. If you refuse, your worlds will burn, your fleets will be scattered to the cosmic winds, and your empire, built on the bones of 1,000 civilizations, will crumble to dust. The laughter died away, replaced by a tense silence. The assembled delegates glanced at one another, uncertain whether to be outraged or unnerved by the human's audacity. Skathar's voice lowered to a dangerous whisper. You threaten us with destruction? You, whose homeworld we could crush beneath our heel with but a fraction of our might. We do not make threats, High Arbiter, Alina replied calmly. We make promises. Humanity has tolerated your tyranny for far too long. We've watched, we've learned, and we've prepared. The hegemony believes it knows the full extent of our capabilities. I assure you, you do not. A new voice cut through the tension. Felser, the Zori representative, stepped forward, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with curiosity. What assurances do we have that your words are anything more than empty bravado? Alina turned to address the Zori. You need no assurances beyond this. If the hegemony does not comply with our demands, you will witness firsthand the full extent of humanity's resolve. We may be young in your eyes, but we have learned much in our brief time among the stars. We've seen the atrocities committed in the name of your cosmic order, and we vowed never to let such horrors befall our own people. The Arxer delegate scoffed loudly. Your species is barely able to maintain a handful of colonies beyond your home system. How could you possibly hope to stand against the combined might of the hegemony? A ghost of a smile played across Alina's lips. It's true our visible presence in the galaxy is limited, but appearances can be deceiving. We've spent decades preparing for this moment, developing technologies and strategies that will level the playing field. The hegemony has grown complacent in its power, believing no force in the universe could challenge its dominion. That complacency will be your undoing. High Arbiter Scather's gelatinous form rippled with barely contained fury. You speak of technologies beyond your known capabilities. Do you expect us to believe you've somehow leapfrogged centuries of development in mere decades? Believe what you will, High Arbiter, Alina replied, her tone unwavering. But know this, humanity has always excelled at adaptation and innovation. We've studied your strengths, your weaknesses, and we've prepared accordingly. Our warriors train in simulations based on your tactics. Our scientists have reverse-engineered and improved upon captured hegemony technology. We are not the primitive species you believe us to be. Deep in the heart of Fortress Alpha, Fleet Admiral Yuki Tanaka studied the latest updates streaming in from the front lines. Humanity's forces were making progress far beyond initial projections. Key hegemony systems were in chaos, their defenses crumbling under the precision strikes of the Phantom Corps and the relentless advance of human fleets. But Tanaka's seasoned instincts told her this was only the beginning. The hegemony was a colossal entity, and while it had been caught off guard, its eventual counterattack would be devastating. She turned to Colonel Alexei Volkov, who stood nearby, his expression as hard as the titanium alloy of the station itself. "Colonel, what's the status of Project Prometheus?" Tanaka asked, her tone sharp with urgency. "Fully operational, Admiral," Volkov replied, though there was a hint of unease in his voice. "The weapon is primed and can be deployed at your command." Tanaka studied him for a moment. She understood his hesitation. Project Prometheus represented humanity's ace in the hole, a weapon so advanced and devastating it could potentially tip the balance of power. But its use came with grave risks. She allowed herself a moment of reflection, then nodded. "Hold it in reserve for now. We'll deploy it only if absolutely necessary. I want the hegemony to understand the full consequences of their hubris, but we won't escalate without cause." Volkov saluted and moved to relay the order, leaving Tanaka alone with the holographic display. She traced the movements of the fleets with her eyes, silently willing them to hold their ground. Humanity had come so far, but the path ahead remained perilous.